how'd you feel about the pick? Like, have you watched any highlight tape since? And
I've
got
been
pumped up.
a steady diet of Will Campbell highlights. I saw one today that was a clip of him saying he died in the MMA, which you want to win a fan base over, especially one that's drinking the Kool-Aid as heavy as we are.
That's what he said when he got picked. Right after he got
the second he got picked, he was like, I am ready to die for Drake May.
He was
a guy he's never met.
Everything.
No, but it was that clip where he's talking about, like, if you ever wonder what I bring to the table, go ask my quarterback, Jim Davis. Go ask Garrett Nussbaum. Like, I am for my quarterbacks. And then it cut to it was one of those, somebody says something sick, and then it cuts to a mixtape on Instagram. I don't know if your feed is filled with those as much as I am, but they're absurd. I saw one for Josh McRoberts today. Remember Josh McRoberts?
Deep dive.
Yeah, that's how deep my IG algorithm gets. But yeah, in the top comment on that was, his voice makes me want to go buy an F-350.
That guy is like Louisiana through and through. Like, he is just super chill.
He's got
but like, I've watched I watched someone break down the tape, talking about like the technique and everything, and it was like, look, he got beat by speed on this move, but he stays with them. Hands are perfect. Hands are always like in the chest, center, square. Like, you don't see him get beat on technique ever. And even if someone gets around, like, they think they're going to bull rush him, he's not getting bowled over.
No.
He's not getting knocked over.
Everyone complained about the arm length. It's really not that much shorter than everyone else, for one. And for two, his footwork, it's so good that even if the arm length is an issue, he can make up for it with how good of a base he has, how good he is at shifting his feet. Like, I don't care if he gets beat by speed, because I think he's going to be good enough and fundamentally sound enough to recover.
Did you see him? I posted this on our socials. You see him do the wink right before he's about to like do the death. He's like, it looks like he's like, oh, I'm struggling. Then he gives a wink, and then he goes.
Yes, he's such a fucking stud, dude. He's gonna be awesome. He's a Vrabel guy too. Like, everything about him screams Mike Vrabel.
Vrabel worked him out, and the comment was, if those tapes,
Vrabel worked him out in pads.
If those tapes get out, I'm in trouble. He said.
I
was
love
a great
that
night
Mike
for the
Vrabel's crazy enough to be like, I don't know if I'm going to take this kid with my first overall pick or my fourth overall pick until I get in the pads and get one-on-one with him. And he was like, yeah, you just felt the best. It's crazy.
He was unbelievable.
That's the kind of culture.
G-Men had a solid first round. They grabbed Abdul Carter, and then they grabbed Jackson Dart.
They traded back up for a quarterback? Had to have been Shedeur Sanders, right? He wore the cleats.
Should have been.
He also wore headphones in his interview.
Well, I've done a lot of job interviews, and if you're going to bomb the interview, you can probably expect not to get picked for the job. So he kind of deserved it. It is what it is. I mean, it's. I felt bad for him when the rounds kept going, but then I remembered that he was like a complete tool, and I was like, himself? He did do it to himself.
Trump has that new organization or whatever that declassified the JFK assassination, and they were supposed to do the Epstein files and Area 51. I need the Sanders tapes. I need every bit of footage from all of his interviews. I need that disclosed because
I need the 30 for 30 on the Shedeur Sanders
draft. You talk about train wreck TV. That's got to be the pinnacle.
I need it done by the same people that did the O.J. Simpson TV show, the reenactment one. Yeah. One with Cuba Gooding Jr. as O.J. I'm O.J. That's what I need. I need that, but Cuba Gooding Jr. as Shedeur Sanders this time.
Also, what a nightmare blunt rotation that quarterback room is. Shedeur Sanders.
Joe Flacco.
Dylan Gabriel, who...
he's the guy I feel worse for.
I do too, but especially because they took all the wind out of his sails. They drafted him third over Shedeur. He's probably fucking pumped. He never thought he was going to go that high. And then they take Shedeur in the fifth and just... absolutely tank.
Torpedo. Yeah. That's two different organizational thoughts about what a quarterback should be.
Yeah.
and they're both drafting at this point. They're like, "I'll draft," and they're like, "I don't think you will," and he's like, "We are. It's my say." And then the other guy gets the quarter. It's like when your mom, like, I had three brothers growing up. My mom would be like, "No, you each get a Ninja Turtle. Everybody gets the same one." And this is what that feels like. It feels like everybody has to have a quarterback. Like you get to draft one, and you get to draft one. Now everybody be happy,
They're going
and
into
no one's gonna be
a
happy.
room of what, five quarterbacks?
Five. Yeah, because Kenny Pickett's there too.
Kenny Pickett,
It's
Joe
Flacco, Pickett,
Flacco,
yeah,
Sanders, Dylan Gabriel,
Sanders,
and then
Gabriel,
Satan himself.
and then Watson, who's not going to play this year, but will be around as the heir apparent when he comes back.
Uncle Creepy
I
in a
don't know how you.
walking boot.
I don't know how you keep him on the roster, but they got to find a way to get some of these guys out of there because it's awful.
Gonna have
That's
to
an
eat
ugly,
a lot of money. I saw there was like the Cleveland Browns selected two quarterbacks in the 2025 NFL draft, which should absolutely ensure that they're going to be taking quarterback in the first round of the 2026 NFL draft.
Yeah, yeah. I liked. I like that. I was a big fan of the Panthers taking Tet. I didn't like him at that spot. I thought he was. I didn't think he was top 10 talent. I don't know what
I
people.
like the
So like,
fit a lot though.
I love the fit. I think
Yeah.
he's he's the guy
Sometimes
to
I
go
think
there.
the fit just it's 9. It's the ninth pick. Sometimes fit just outweighs.
I look at obviously looked at a ton of film and a ton of draft tape coming into the week
I feel like
and
anybody
during the
said he
week.
wasn't a first round pick. You know what I mean?
I think he's a first round pick. I think he's a 15 or later.
Jen, there's certain interviews that you can't overlook.
I'm gonna put this out there on a limb. I watched a side by side of Cam Ward and Shador Sanders throwing the football, not talking, not mouthing off, not pretending to be, not doing interviews, none of that. None of the like fake superstar bullshit, just the football. And the ball that Ward threw was crisp and it was like solid. You saw it, you looked at it, tight spiral, and it had some mustard on it. You could see that he could throw the football. The ball that Sanders threw was a little flappy bird. And to me, that was the red flag. That's what I look at and I go, he's accurate under 15 yards.
If his name
But I don't.
wasn't Shador Sanders and he didn't have this huge, massive media hype train building for him over the last 3 years, nobody would have batted an eye that he wasn't, one, being talked about as a first round pick, and two, that he slid as far as he did, especially when you add in all the other things that we've heard about the whole process.
The overwhelming opinion in the draft room every time he wasn't picked was shock, and except from our table, where we were like, "Yeah, right."
There was one, the Dylan Gabriel pick, I think it was.
Yep.
No, Tyler Shuck, one of them. It was Gabriel, because the Browns made that pick and like right before
Yep.
you guys were talking about like, oh, this might be Shador, this might be the spot. Like, I don't know who else is going to take the shot on him. And they took Dylan Gabriel, and you could hear through the stream the rest of Radio Row being like, oh my God, whoa, and Jeremy just yelled, like, it just gets worse. It just keeps getting worse.
It was a good time.
Complete disbelief, dude. Oh my God, that felt. The him going in the 5th round was the NFL draft equivalent of that meme that's like, Chris Paul hits a massive 3 to cut the lead to 40. Like, it was a sideshow by the end of it.
Yeah, I felt bad for the other quarterbacks and the other guys who had been taken. No one spent any time talking about Cam Ward. No one spent any time
a lick.
talking about.
Do you think anybody gave a fuck about Tyler Shuck unless they were talking bad about him? Honestly,
I like Tyler Shuck. I think he's going to be fine. Got it.
Got him, dude. Got him. Dead.
I felt bad for Travis Hunter, who like the shout out to the Jags, who like took their shot. They said we're going to get that guy. That's the guy we want, and they traded up to get him.
Slowly moved it down, bench warmer style.
I loved the move at the time by Cleveland. It felt like they were about to have a great draft, and then they were just like, never mind, LOL. We'll do something else.
We had 1 round in us. That's it.
That was it. That's the best we could do. They were like, "Oh, we got to keep making picks." I thought this was like a one and done kind of situation.
We didn't
But like,
prepare for the rest of this.
surely they've been watching like NBA drafts, and they're like 2 rounds, right? That's it.
That's all there
It's like
is.
7.
Loved the trade down, and then they just tanked the rest of their draft. And the only thing that makes sense is that Jimmy Haslam walked into that room and went, "No, you're drafting Shador."
Yeah.
Which owners should stay out of picks, dude. I'm sorry. You're not. It's your money. I get it, but it's your brand, your whole franchise. But the guys scouting and the GMs and the coaches are the people that should be making those choices. You could see the look on the Browns war room after that pick was made. It was not high fives.
It was
And
tense. It was tense.
it looked like a room of people that just got chewed out. And they were like, fine, I guess this is what we're doing. That's going to be great for tensions going forward.
I also want to point out that NFL teams, as much as we make fun of them, have a completely different process for drafting and scouting and doing these things than fans do. There are so many fans that were like, "No, I watched," and including myself.
So many
and,
fans that
all
only
of the,
watched ESPN coverage where they gassed Shador for a year plus.
there are a ton of people who are fans. There are a ton of people who do what Jeremy does and analyze tape and everything. And like, look, there were a ton that submitted brackets, I guess is what you would call it, your mock draft, final mock draft of the mock draft contest, and those were vastly different. And some people just like you felt like they were doing crimes. Some people I don't think watched anything at all. But what I learned is that teams have very specific things that they're looking for, and it's maybe not something that you'll see on tape. It may be from the interview, which I think is what we saw with Sanders. Like in the interview process, I think you saw teams deciding this is the guy that I want, and this is why. Like I saw the Will Howard tape, interview tape, where he was like, "I'm really glad you asked me." Well, he's like, "Why should we pick you?" He's like, "I'm really glad you asked me." And then he gave like this long-winded answer about like how he wanted to prove everybody wrong, and all I kept thinking was, probably not gonna make it past the practice squad, my guy. Like you're not him. But like the team obviously saw something in him and decided we'll take a shot.